I thought we could talk about the practical utility, if you want to use that
Hmm.
language, of the biblical, systematic, historical theology, apologetics, and so forth. That these, in fact, are not purely academic. Of course, they are academic at a certain level. And one could say, well, you've been beaten to the punch. R.C. Sproul wrote a book a few years ago called "Everybody's a Theologian" or "Everyone's a Theologian," uh, and that's one aspect of what we're trying to talk about here. Uh, and that's true. The question isn't whether the Christian or even the unbeliever is created in God's image and in covenant with God, but breaking that covenant, being in rebellion, is a theologian of a sort, right? We're just a rebellious theologian, improperly uh, handling the common grace gifts that he or she has been given. But as Christians, we are especially called as disciples to be learners. That's what the word disciple means. It's simply a anglicized form of discipulus, which is the Latin term for learner,
Mm.
student, follower. So it's more than maybe what we mean by student in the classroom. It would be the mentor-mentee relationship out in the world. But here we have the master-disciple relationship, one would have been familiar to people in Jesus' day
Right.
because you had the rabbi-student relationship, right?
Hmm.
And often the teaching uh, teacher was often referred to as master.
Clearly, there were a lot of people in the biblical times who followed Jesus around because they wanted to see some miracles. There were,
Correct.
and
That's right.
Jesus, condemns them in a sense. He castigates a lot of them. You Jews always seek, and the people who were around him just wanted to see him do a trick.
Right.
But then there were
And
those, of course, who were saved by grace and had regenerate hearts and sought him because they realized that alone had the words of life, that he
and
himself was life.
right. Exactly. And you remember Jesus' church growth principle, which was to talk about feeding upon his flesh and drinking his blood
Yeah.
in John chapter 6. And of course, the many people who had been following him leave him. And
Right.
that's the context for Jesus going to the disciples, the 12,
Mm.
saying, will you too leave me? And Peter says, to where will we go? To whom will we go? You alone have the words
Words
of
of eternal
life.
life. Hmm.
And of course, that idea of both word and life are key themes in the Gospel of John.